racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. This Wednesday night, it is back and bigger and better than ever. It's the Pro Truck Showdown, thanks to Scamander Coffee Mug. This is a fantastic series. We've already gone through one brilliant 6-week season, and now we're starting the second, and we're right where it started for me as a commentator at the Silverstone historic Grand Prix layout for the first round of this new season. We got 3 races coming up for you, each of 5 laps, 7 laps, and about something a bit bigger in the third race. And we've got a full field of Lucas Oil Off-Road Pro 2 trucks ready to strut their stuff around here. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box is Cameron Dance. G'day, Cam. Welcome back to the box. Last season was fantastic. Now we start a new one. I can't wait for it.
Certainly, really looking forward to the second season here and who's going to end up walking away with the championship in the end. So, yeah, it's if season 1 is anything to go by, it's going to be really enjoyable and really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen out on track in this season.
Indeed. We've got a few minutes left in the qualifying session now, as the drivers are now out on track, setting their times to start the night off. Last season's champion was Aaron Dillon. This guy right here driving the 013 truck, making his way through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel, a very fast section of the Silverstone circuit. But in these Pro 2 trucks, you're just managing the weight transfer, going excruciatingly slow through these corners, trying to line up your exit onto the hangar straight. Aaron Dillon is going to be one of the drivers hoping for some good results tonight.
Certainly, he's going to be hoping to kick his second season off with a bang and in the right way that he should as the series champion. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight, whether he's going to be able to kick the season off in the way that he hopes. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a long run with the fact that he had quite the challenge from the likes of Mitchell McLeod and Co last season. He'll definitely have his work cut out for him.
Certainly will. Damian Westbrook right here, another one of the drivers that was showing in contention for that series title and for wins all throughout the season, but luck never quite fell Mr. Westbrook's way. Nice aggressive entry into the Stowe corner and just leaning on the rears out of the corner, sorry. And this is one of the places where the historic Grand Prix layout differs. You actually use this shortcut at Club. It makes much faster entry into this corner. And you've got to be careful to hook up that second apex and get another good exit onto this straight line section, which again misses a chicane. The Abbey chicane was added in 1994 to this layout, but they're taking the original route right there. It's just a flat-out left-hand sweeper down to the fearsome bridge corner. Under the bridge, Westbrook goes and just balancing the truck through these fast corners. And this final sector of the lap cam is a place where the weight transfer really comes into account. You've got to be so careful through this section not to overshoot the corners.
Yeah, you certainly do, and it really does offer up a lot of passing opportunity as well, like we saw last season when people were throwing it up the inside of the second last corner. So going to be expecting a lot of passing there as well this season too, and we'll see a lot of people are probably going to get the elbows out as well, but certainly going to be a corner to watch for sure as Westbrook comes across line, and he's going to do a 2-minute 3.27 to be provisional P2.
Yeah, looks like it, but he's pipped by M. Scott List Ramler, who is a new driver to the series coming from the Mid-South Club, all the way from America. And first time he's racing in this series, already putting in a very good time. A 2:02.3 for Justin Howe, 2:02.4 for Martin Turner, for Mr. Sam Stride here in the number 42, just coming across the line now, in contention for some wins last season. A 2:03.256 is his time, but have a look at that timesheet. It's Mitchell McLeod who has gone straight to the top, 4 tenths ahead of Lockie Dalton on a 2:01.371. So McLeod already getting his defense off to a great start. Missed a couple rounds last season. Across the line comes Nathan Verney, and this is to start a lap. Aggressive entry into Cops and kicking the rear end out, but doesn't look like he's managed to get that lap in. It was actually a completed lap there for Verney, but I think he got an off track somewhere along the line, which invalidated his time. So he's going to have to start near the back in this one. Ryan Meyer then across the line. Short name, but big driving style. Coming across the line, he goes a 203.673, only 600ths of a second behind Daniel Stevens, puts him P12.
And it's certainly quite close down in that mid-range sort of area of the pack where you've separated by absolutely nothing, tenths if not hundredths and thousandths of a second. So it's very, very close. But Aaron Dillon coming across the line does a 2-minute 3.1 and puts himself just in behind Scott List Ramler. So not quite up at the pointy end of the field, but certainly not too bad of a position.
Yeah, for sure. Kay Donnelly, unfortunately, not able to make it across the line because that is the end of the qualifying session, and this is how they're going to line up for race one. It's Mitchell McLeod and Lockie Dalton on the front row with Justin Howe and Martin Turner taking up the second row. And Scott List Ramler on his debut makes it a top 5 start alongside last season's champion Aaron Dillon. Sam Stride and Damian Westbrook on row 4 with Philip Howe and Ashley Norman rounding out the top 10.
We're going to have Harry Tompkins and Daniel Stevens on row 6, row 7, Ryan Meyer and Dwayne Priest. Row 8, Alfredo Sanchez and Ryan Jones, followed by Nathan Verney and Brian Trees, and then rounding out the 19 car field, Donnelly.
Yeah, those last 4 drivers, unfortunately, not able to set times in the qualifying session, so we won't get an idea of their true pace until the green flag drops. Let us prepare then for this race. Coming up to the end of the gridding period and season 2, round 1 of the Pro Truck Showdown shall begin very shortly. Of course, a big thanks to our series sponsors, Scamander Coffee Mug, Allstate Security Tasmania, and Hot Toddy's Heating Installs. Great support from all of these guys and a great support from the grid as well. Cannot wait for this series to get going. For Mitchell McLeod, it's going to be an interesting start from the front of that grid. Not being joined by Lockie Dalton just yet. I think Dalton, right there he goes, waiting until the very end of the gridding period to get things going. The revs rise, everyone's on the grid, we're ready to go. Season 2 of the Pro Truck Showdown, slight jump start from Martin Turner is go, and that's a bogged down start from Martin Turner. He is going to get swamped by Aaron Dillon as they cross the line to start the first lap. Mitchell McLeod leading the way, but oh my goodness, that is a huge pile up in the back. It looks like that was started by the 73 of Damian Westbrook flipping over. And that's Westbrook all the way to the back thanks to that. Got trucks with damage, Philip Howe being one of them. Ryan Jones as well rejoining at the back of the grid as Lockie Dalton now is defending from the advances of Justin Howe. There is Philip Howe, Justin's father, trying his best to keep things up as we check on board with Justin through Maggots, Beckett's, and then out of Chapel. This is the first real opportunity the drivers have for some drafting, but Mitchell McLeod has gotten a good gap already over all the other trucks.
He certainly has a nice, comfortable lead at this stage. But what a crazy way to start this second season with a massive shunt on the front straight. It looked like it was just a matter of Philip Howe and Damon Westbrook coming together, and Westbrook just slightly turning in on him while coming across on Philip Howe's nose. So unfortunately, those two are going to be way down the order. Westbrook probably well and truly out of this race. Both of them are actually. So unfortunately, they have not started their season well, but certainly all on at the front.
That it is, because Mitchell McLeod has started to be reeled in slightly by Lockie Dalton as we ride on board with Martin Turner in the midst of this great battle for the positions in the last half of the top 10. That is Daniel Stevens getting a bit acquainted with the grass on the run up to Bridge, and they fire it in here. The truck's almost rolling over. Such is the ride height and the soft spring rates. And Stevens now putting some big pressure on last season's champion, Aaron Dillon, coming down into the Brooklands corner and then into Luffield. Have a look at McLeod up at the front. He is really having to defend now from Lockie Dalton and Justin Howe. Goodness me, they're very close on the exit of Luffield, and it looks like Justin Howe might have a shot here at Lockie Dalton coming into Cops. Let's see what happens across the line to finish the first lap of 5. But Howe still bumper to bumper with Dalton coming into Cops. Not going for the move that time, but going to get him on the exit potentially. It was a great initial application out of the corner, but Dalton just a little bit quicker where it mattered, and it looks like Howe is going to have to stay behind here. Have a look at Ramler, though. He's starting to really come up on these guys. It could be a four-way battle for those top 3 positions.
Yeah, it certainly could. And Ramler's sitting in almost a prime position of just waiting it for these guys in front of him to just make a mistake or all come together so he can slip on by. So he's probably playing the patience game here and just playing it safe as well to slip on by when they all come together. But certainly it's going to be interesting to see what happens as Howe launches it up the inside of Dalton with the rear kicking out ever so slightly. Dalton holding it around the outside, but not quite going to be enough, and Howe's going to take the position off him.
Great move there from Justin Howe, and that's how you do it at Stowe. So now Dalton, got on brakes a bit early and concertinaed into Ramler slightly. So this battle between the top 4 going to continue for quite some time. We saw in the pits Martin Turner just before. He's come in and made a stop. We're not quite sure why. Ramler, meanwhile, still harassing the back of Lockie Dalton out of club, and a great exit, but he goes onto the grass out of Abbey. He's got the inside line for Bridge. Dalton turns in. Ramler has to back out. What a great battle for 3rd place this is. Now Ramler's going to try and go for the over-under at the Priory corner. Fire it up the inside into Brooklands. How late does he dare on the brakes? Not quite late enough. Dalton staying ahead as there's a bit of contact behind between Sam Stride and Aaron Dillon. Dillon has shaken off the advances of Daniel Stevens and Ryan Meyer, and now is looking to try to advance forward.
Yeah, well, certainly you want to try and advance forward and get by Sam Stride to catch up to those top 4. Starting to break away a little bit from Sam Stride at the moment, so you'll want to get by as quickly as he possibly can. He's up. Well, he still hasn't moved up any positions from where he started as well, has Dylan, so he'll certainly be wanting to get a move on at this stage, but certainly it's very, very close at the front of the field between the likes of Justin Howe and Mitchell McLeod, though.
For Justin Howe, the fastest lap so far, 2:01.749. Excellent time. Right on board with the fastest of the qualifying times that Mitchell McLeod set. But McLeod's still up in front as we have a look at the wheel work from Justin Howe's perspective. You're very cramped in one of these trucks. There's a bare bones cockpits in these things, no creature comforts whatsoever. You get an interesting view of the gear shifting setup for these things as well. They actually run a road standard automatic transmission, 3-speed, but they can shift the gears manually. Scottless Ramler then trying up the inside of Stowe. Have a look at that, a bit of contact with Lockie Dalton and shuffles him out of the way and goes on through. That was a very well coordinated move there from Ramler. It looked like Dalton just fired it a little bit too hard into Stowe and ran wide in the mid corner where it counted.
Yeah, certainly he shoved it up the inside, albeit with a bit of an elbows out approaching, moving him out of the way, but he certainly got the job done in the end, so he's up in the 3rd place for sure, but it's certainly all on just further back with Ryan Jones and Kate Donnelly side by side. Ashley Norman, through back end of the circuit. Jones is going to have the inside for the following corner, so we have the advantage, but Norman's not quite going to be able to hold it around the outside and backs out.
It does indeed. Great line from Ryan Jones to protect that maneuver. But these, there's battles happening just about all through the field. Anywhere you look, there is a position for contention, and we check back in with the lead because Justin Howe, right on the back of Mitchell McLeod. Can't forget about Ramler either. He's right on the back of these guys. There he is in 3rd place. So coming across the line for Mitchell McLeod, what kind of lap time is this going to be? It's a 2:01.753, a 2:01.82. from Justin Howe. So both of those guys smashing out those quick times. A big lunge by Howe into turn 1, trying to close the gap between himself and McLeod, but Mitchell with the throttle application, using the slow in, fast out approach, just getting a little advantage out of that first corner. But they're starting to break now into 2x2 packs behind them. Sam Stride and Aaron Dillon still fighting hard. Daniel Stevens and Ryan Mayer have each other for company as well. You see them all coming across your screen now. And just turning into the complex there is Kay Donnelly with Ryan Jones and Ashley Norman pursuing.
Yes, certainly, and it's very, very bunched up in various parts of the pack, like you said, and various different drivers having their own little battle. And I guess that's the beauty of this series, is that you've always got someone to race, whether you're in the front, the back, or the middle of the pack. So it's very, very busy at the moment. But Mitchell McLeod is very, very busy at the moment himself, with the fact that Justin Howe's all over the back end of him, and he's certainly applying the pressure in truckloads.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hanging the rear end out, just having a little cut to the inside of the corner there is Justin Howe. You can use that part of the racetrack. Doesn't give you an off-track 1X on this layout of Silverstone. Bumper to bumper through Abbey once again, and Howe needs to make this work, because next lap is the last lap, side by side into bridge. McLeod with the better exit and has the inside for Priory, but can Howe lunge it up the inside, straighten up the throttle application, starting to get the momentum down, has a go at McLeod into Brooklands. McLeod has to go wide to give him room, and that's going to be Justin Howe through into the lead of this race at the second last corner. But can Mitchell McLeod fight his way back? He's got the inside for Luffield, has to cross himself up a bit. It's a slightly better exit. He's got the inside for Woodcote now. Have a look at Scottless Rambler as well behind these guys, really coming up to the back of this battle as the white flag flies. The top three all together on the run up to turn one. Slight contact between McLeod and Howe. They almost went off the track there, but Justin Howe using all of the runoff area and then some, trying to get the best exit possible. You can't take an advantage from that. It's against the rules of the series, so Howe has to slip back in behind. Through into Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel for the final time in this race. Have a look at the curb usage from Justin Howe. Crazy stuff. You can take a lot of liberties with the track limits in these trucks, but it's down to the hanger straight one final time. Can Howe get McLeod on this particular run? He has got the draft. He's got the inside line. McLeod, though, will know from last season in particular that you can hold the outside around Stowe, and he's super late on the brakes, fires it in there, tries to pick up the throttle as early as he can and maintain that side-by-side on the exit so that he has the inside line for the first turn of the faster club. Just shuffles back on ahead of Justin Howe for the briefest moment, but Howe, oh, careful guys, Ramler's going to get both of you if you're not careful here, out of this corner. Lockie Dalton's still here as well, as it looks like Justin Howe might just take the lead here from Mitchell McLeod, but on Abbey, it's McLeod back in front, contact between the two of them. Howe is sent off the circuit. He's got the inside line for the bridge corner, though. McLeod stays ahead, only just. Can Howe take it round the outside in Priory? Ramler goes for the move up the inside, makes contact with McLeod, puts him into Justin Howe, and there goes Lockie Dalton with the opportunistic move up the inside as Ramler and Howe make contact. Howe shuffled back behind Dalton. He's going to try and get second back at Luffield, and have a look at Ramler. Goes right back past Dalton on the inside. Big biffo between the two of them at the apex, but Mitchell McLeod has escaped from that beautifully and takes the win in race one, with Justin Howe coming home in second place. Scottless Rambler in third, with Lockie Dalton in fourth. Great top five finish for Aaron Dillon, last season's champion. And the battle for the top 10 not over. There's ALFREDO Sanchez getting bumped around at Luffield, losing a couple of positions right on the final lap, was just a shame because ALFREDO was actually having quite a good run.
Yeah, it certainly was. And it was actually on for P10 as well with the way he was going, but unfortunately he had that moment in the final corner, so he drops down to 14th in the end, unfortunately.
Well, there we go. Quick modem simulation replay then of, looks like this is going to be the start here for Damian Westbrook. We're going to have another look at how that flip happened that caused the pile-up in the midfield. So there's Dalton getting onto the grid, and the timer will start now, and everyone's going to jump off. There's that jump start from Martin Turner, and everyone else goes just fine. So Westbrook had to go to the inside, I think, of Turner, and then Philip Howe right alongside them. They came together, and there was just nothing they could do once that happened. Incredibly close quarters on the start-finish straight, but I think Westbrook conclusively got the worst out of that.
Yeah, he certainly did, and kind of did it to himself as well, but not quite sure how Sanchez, Norman, Meyer, and Tompkins and Stevens even all made it through that somehow in the end. barely missing any sort of possible carnage or unforeseen circumstances. But yeah, certainly what a race in the end it was.
What a race indeed, and those are your results there. Mitchell McLeod taking the win by under a second from Justin Howe. Super close between Ramler and Dalton. You see that gap between them. But Ryan Jones coming home to finish in the top 10 right at the end of it is a great way for the first race of the night to start off for him. He didn't even know that he'd be taking part in this event just a couple of hours ago. But we're going to move on into the consolation, or Heat 2, we should probably call it. It's a reverse grid. Reverse finishing order of Race 1 starts up the order for Race 2. Philip Howe is going to line up in first, with Nathan Verney and Harry Tompkins completing the top 3. Damian Westbrook and Martin Turner complete the top 5. Sanchez would line up in 6th, but he's exited the server just after Race 1. I think he might be a bit unhappy with how that finished for him. 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th is Brian Trezise, Ashley Norman, Dwayne Priest and Ryan Jones. We're about to get going already. Philip Howe starting on pole alongside Nathan Verney, who was having some virtual reality headset issues just before. It's a good start from Philip Howe. Nathan Verney slightly bogged down off the start. It's a slight advantage from Harry Tompkins and Martin Turner behind. Damian Westbrook is in no danger of being crashed this time round, but he's going to go right into the front of the pack there as Tompkins and Turner just losing a bit of momentum. Nathan Verney as well. Philip Howe right out in the lead, has nothing to worry about as Ryan Jones tries around the outside coming into Maggots and Beckett's. That's Dwayne Priest right up ahead of him and going for the move around Dwayne Priest into Chapel. Brian Trezise taking a bit too much grass there as Jones stabs on the throttle and gets past the car of Dwayne Priest. This is great. Everyone's so close, and to boot, we haven't had a crash on the start-finish straight this time, but for second, it is on. Martin Turner's going to go for it here on Nathan Verney. And Verney keep it round the outside. Looks like he might have a red-hot go of it, but no. Turner gets second.
You're not quite able to accomplish the move in the end, unfortunately, but it's still all on just behind them. Even 2 and 3 wide, in fact, and McLeod's already making his way up through the order very, very quickly. As a result, he's all over the back of Ashley Norman at the moment, so very much on his way to the front of the field, but he's got a lot of cars to pass still at this stage.
Yeah, he does, and there's not great times for Aaron Dillon and Daniel Stevens at the back of the field. They made a bit of contact, and contact again through Abbey. Dillon's been sent off the circuit there, and right at the back of the field now, as, Ramler almost gets turned around by Stevens into Bridge. That's a very tight battle for those last 3 positions, and Ramler knocked and concertinaed into stride, as that's a car over. That's Ashley Norman in the gravel trap at Priory. What on earth happened to him?
Yeah, it looks like he had contact with Trezise, who just forced it up the inside, and unfortunately, wheel-to-wheel contact and up and over Ashley Norman went.
Yeah, that's a big shame. We're going to get another view of that here as Norman goes into the Priory corner, and you're going to see Brian Trezise come up the side of him right there. And, well, when the wheels make contact and there's tyres spinning on tyres, the car just gets flicked up. And away you go. It looks like Ashley Norman has retired from this one. Daniel Stevens is now out as well for a reason I'm not quite clear on. For the lead, it is on. Philip Howe is getting pressured by Martin Turner as we take a look briefly at Westbrook and Verney. But this top 2 battle now is where it's definitely at, as Nathan Verney and Damian Westbrook are continuing to trade positions on the exit of the S's section, and Ryan Jones is right there with them. Verney going to driver's left, trying to protect the outside into Stowe, and Ryan Jones is going to make it 3 wide here on the run up to one of the fastest corners on the circuit on the inside of Westbrook. Jones just slips on through, but Westbrook gets him right back at the apex, goes off track in order to do so, and they're side by side again on the exit. A new leader because Martin Turner's made it in there. Mitchell McLeod's going to take advantage of this situation and go up the inside of Damian Westbrook into the left-hander, try and roll it round the outside of the right-hander, but not going to happen at this particular stage. Quick modem simulation replay of that lead pass, as I've seen Damian Westbrook and Mitchell McLeod have just made contact, but that is the move, and it wasn't entirely clean there between Martin Turner and Philip Howe.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't exactly the cleanest pass you ever see, but they got it done in the end. So certainly nothing left on the table for many of these drives tonight, and especially the likes of McLeod and a few others who have already made their way into the top 5 all the way from the back of the field. So they're doing extremely well. But Tompkins has got his hands full at the moment with the fact that he's got a car on his outside and one on the inside. Dwayne Priest going up the inside, and one other, Nathan Verney, also getting turned by Priest.
Yeah, and Verney was trying to battle with Westbrook and McLeod just before, got shuffled out of the order, out of the running. So the battle between Westbrook and McLeod continues just behind that top 3 battle as Howe has another go at Martin Turner. Damian Westbrook, though, up the inside of Mitchell McLeod into Copse, gets the move done, but McLeod is going to get him again on the exit. Just lines it up and shoots it out as we take a look at Lockie Dalton just behind. This is an incredible fight that we're seeing. Just ahead of him is Justin Howe and Harry Tompkins. From the back of Mitchell McLeod, that is the view back to Westbrook. And it is super intense coming into Beckett's and Chapel. But McLeod spinning the wheels on the exit of the corner, maintaining the position. And we've said that all throughout last season as well. Mitchell McLeod's strength seems to be the throttle application. You can't do anything to the setup in these things. It's a fixed setup series. So it takes a lot of effort in order to get it done. There goes Justin Howe slipping by Harry Tompkins into Stowe. Can Tompkins get him back? No. Unfortunately, Howe just better throttle application around the outside. So now he could be a factor in this battle between Westbrook and McLeod.
Yeah, he certainly could be a factor in all of it in this little battle going on. He showed some very, very good pace in race 1, so it's every chance that he's going to get involved in this little battle as well and possibly even make his way on by. So have to keep an eye on that, but it's certainly on for the lead of this race at the moment as Martin Turner's facing a heap of pressure from Philip Howe, who's all over the back of him currently, looking to try and possibly make a move, a little bit of contact on the way right up onto the back end and giving him a bit of a nudge to give him a bit of a hurry up, but he's certainly still going straight, so they're going to keep playing on. But certainly Philip Howe wants to find a way on by as quickly as possible.
That he does. Martin Turner just a little bit wide there into Luffield, and it's almost a chance there for Philip Howe. You get on the throttle in these things and you can do quite a bit on exit. That is a very big problem there for Damian Westbrook. Oh man, for the second time in as many races, it has gone belly up for Mr. Westbrook. While we're on the replay, the move's just been made for the lead. So, Jay, I think we should stay with this replay. What happened to Damian Westbrook here? Oh, just got smashed into by drivers behind trying to make moves. Just a bit too much momentum from the drivers behind, and Westbrook, the innocent victim there. This is what happened between Martin Turner and Philip Howe. Martin Turner maintains the lead of the race, but it almost went for him here because Philip Howe going for the inside right at the last moment, and Turner turned in. Howe was right there. They came together, Howe going right off the circuit, and that is the lead returned for Martin Turner. But now Ryan Jones is on the back of them. That fight, that incident between them has brought Jones into contention for a potential win.
Yeah, it very much has brought Jones straight back into this, and with a very, very high chance of possibly winning this race if he can keep his head nice and cool and just get on by as quickly as possible, because Mitchell McLeod and just now aren't too far away, so he's going to need to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. Otherwise, he's going to face a bit of pressure from behind.
It's a 7-lap race, this one, so we still have plenty of time to sort out these battles. Jones's entry into Abbey seemed quite nice, and he's going to have the momentum and the run up into Bridge. He tries on Howe. Phillips stays wide there, and Jones, using all of the roads, squeezes him off the track, but Howe staying right in it. He's got the inside line now for the Brooklands corner. Can Jones hold it round the outside for the inside into Luffield is the big question, and the answer is no, because just losing his momentum there. Jones struggling with some understeer in the pre-race preparation, so that's going to be move cancelled for the time being. Right behind him is Mitchell McLeod, who gets a great exit out of the Luffield corner, and it's going to be an inside run into Copse, but Ryan Jones stymieing that, moving to the inside to defend. So McLeod now has to back out into the corner, and he might just do what he did on Westbrook, try his best on the throttle application, But again, it's just not working. Ryan Jones has actually gotten used to this quite quickly, and it's a great battle here for the podium positions.
Yeah, it certainly is a very, very good battle. I'm surprised he's managed to get his throttle control back under control with the fact that he was very, very sideways out of those final 2 or 3 corners, but he certainly got it back under control. So he's going to try and hold off Mitchell McLeod as best as he can, but whether he's going to be able to do that is a rather big question, because Mitchell McLeod seems to have quite a bit of pace over him at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see it for sure.
Here's Cade Donnelly and Sam Stride battling on the run-up to Stowe. The guys in front of them, Dwayne Priest and Harry Tompkins, trading places into that corner as well. Stride trying on the inside of Donnelly. A little bit of side-by-side contact between the two of them. And unsettled Donnelly slightly, but oh, have a look at that. That's Mitchell McLeod going for the move on Ryan Jones coming into club, and he is now up into third. Looked like a very well-executed move there from the number 44. So now Mitchell McLeod has a bit more clear air. He can start advancing forward to the top 2.
Yeah, certainly can. They're a little bit up the road, though, but compared to the pace that he's running, he's got a very, very large advantage and won't have any problem catching up to them. A 2:02.370 last time by for McLeod, compared to a 2-minute 4.9 and a 2-minute 4.0 for Turner and Howe. So it's very much in favour of McLeod at this stage.
Aaron Dillon having a couple of issues. He's just lost a couple of positions, but he's going to gain one back because Cade Donnelly has had a hit there with Sam Stride coming into the Brooklands corner and having a bit of trouble sorting themselves out. Sam Stride using Ramler to help him turn, and Cade Donnelly doing the same thing with Aaron Dillon as they come back onto the start-finish straight. So that's going to be Mr. Dillon all the way back down to, it appears, P12.
Yeah, so a bit of shuffling going on just further back. Aaron Dillon on board here with him at the moment. Cops a little bit of a whack from behind by the looks of it from Ryan Meyer on the way through turn 1, but manages to hold on to it nicely. But he's still got to try and find a way on by Cade Donnelly, as he's been stuck there for quite some time now and is not really going to be all that happy doing it. But running wide is Cade Donnelly, and that's going to open the door up for him. He's going to try and do the switchback, but not quite able to do it, as Donnelly just parks it straight on the apex.
It looks like Donnelly's just having fun now with the amount of rear-end play he's got. That's contact between himself and Dillon coming onto the hanger straight, and Dillon losing all of that momentum. It's going to give the advantage to Ryan Meyer, who flicks over to drivers right now. Up the inside of Cade Donnelly into Stowe. He's not going to do it. Oh, or is he? Donnelly left the door open somewhat and then slammed it shut. There goes Ryan Jones, side by side now with Justin Howe, who's trying to do the same thing McLeod did a lap ago, and he's not been quite as successful. There's Philip Howe looking behind at Mitchell McLeod as the battle continues between Jones and Howe into Abbey, and whoa, Jones just getting it at the entry. What about McLeod, though, up the inside now of Philip Howe coming into Bridge? They're going to be side by side again into Priory, so Howe just slips back ahead. Can McLeod do the switchback? No, Howe just not giving him the opportunity.
Yeah, but he's going to force the issue ever so slightly with a bit of contact on and nose to tail just behind with Ryan Jones as well as Justin Howe. And Justin Howe gets on by, launches it up the inside of McLeod to put himself in P3, shoves McLeod out of the way as well, and that's going to open the door for Ryan Jones. But McLeod with a pretty good exit off the final corner, so he's going to have the run on. Justin Howe is going to draw it barely alongside, but not quite able to have the momentum around the long way. He's going to look to the inside for turn number 1. Jones going to look to the outside, going to have nowhere to go really, being boxed in, but McLeod's going to try hold it up the inside, but Howe's going to have the momentum on the outside by the looks of it and is barely going to hold the position.
And Howe doing very well to give McLeod room there, but Ryan Jones now, as it's the last lap, trying to get a move done on Mitchell McLeod. He was on the podium and he wants to keep it, but these guys have ruined his day. Mitchell McLeod now, he's going to have to focus on the exit of this sequence. So does Justin Howe if he wants to try and take second place from Philip Howe. Martin Turner is all the way out in the lead right now by 2 seconds or so. He's under no threat from these guys. Here comes Justin Howe on his dad Philip, round the outside, down the hanger straight, coming into Stowe. Ryan Jones with the draft on McLeod as well. There goes Justin through on Philip into the Stowe corner. What about McLeod then? He's going to try and get it done here. Oh, there's a bit of contact between the Howes. Mitchell McLeod now, he's going to fire it in, potentially. No. Philip Howe just placing his car in all the right spots. And now this is opening the door for Ryan Jones and Lockie Dalton. It's a two-pronged attack now, Mitchell McLeod, but Dalton and Jones coming together side by side. Jones just going to slip in ahead of Mr. Dalton. Line astern through the Abbey complex down into bridge for the final time then. It's Howe in front for second place. Philip Howe with a slightly compromised exit as Ryan Jones coming together. He's almost going to go into McLeod. Bit of contact between himself and Dalton, but they've sorted themselves out. McLeod has one final run on Philip Howe as Ryan Jones is knocked off the circuit. Howe tries holding it around the outside with Jones there, just getting back onto the circuit cleanly. But out in front, it is going to be Martin Turner who takes victory in the second race of the night here at Silverstone. We barely saw any of him throughout that lead battle, but a great win for Martin. That is a P1 on the board. Mitchell McLeod on the podium with Philip Howe, and Lockie Dalton, unfortunately, is going to have to settle for fourth place. Justin Howe really falling down the order now. It looks to me like it was not a good run for him on that final lap. So there are your results.
Yeah, it looks like Justin having technical issues with his internet by the looks of it, and unfortunately you're going to end up dropping out very, very shortly by the looks of it. So very, very heartbreaking moment for him, with the fact that he was probably going to be on for a very easy P2 there.
Yeah, big shame, but he will have one more race to try and get some points back for the overall championship. So Turner, McLeod and Howe, your top three, and this is how they are going to start for the third race, with Ramler holding on for a top 10 there as well. Really nice to see. Okay, so right now it's the expression session, or at least we're going to be coming into that very soon, as the drivers, last few just coming across the line to complete their runs. Martin Turner celebrating around the circuit. But Ashley Norman and Daniel Stevens, it looks like, the last cars to cross the line there in 16th and 17th. Time for a 5-minute warm-up. The expression session, as they like to call it in this series, and I think that's a good opportunity for us here at SimSpeed TV to go on a very quick break and catch our breaths after two intense races. But we got one more coming up of 9 laps in length, so don't go away. Round 1 of the Pro Truck Showdown from Silverstone Historic is not done yet.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
And we have returned. Fastest lap of 2 minutes 20 seconds by Scott List Ramler in this warm-up session before the feature for round 2 of the Pro Truck Showdown here at Silverstone Historic. Once again, a big thanks to series title sponsors Scamander Coffee Mug, Hot Toddy's Heating Installs, and, of course, Allstate Security Tasmania. It's the end of the warm-up, and we're now about to get on the grid for the feature. It's defined by the finishing order of race 2, and we've got to highlight that just after we called the checkered flag, Lockie Dalton was demoted back to 14th place in the grid spot. We're thinking that he might have not cleared a slowdown penalty. We've only got 30 seconds left before they go, so it's Turner, McLeod, and Howe, your top 3, with Jones and Tompkins leading up your top 5. Sam Stride, Ramler, Donnelly, Dillon, and Meyer, your top 10. The reigning champion starting from 9th, Mitchell McLeod, looking to get his season off to the best of starts, and Martin Turner looking to try and make it 2 from 3 tonight. I'm Reese Gardner, Cameron Dance joining me in the commentary box. We're about to go green here at Silverstone Historic. The revs will rise very, very shortly. Clock is now at 0. And it's going to be 19 trucks pulling away right now. And Martin Turner getting an all-right start there, actually a better start than McLeod, and so did Philip Howe. He's going to drop alongside McLeod coming into the first turn. Ryan Jones looking for a move up the inside. McLeod is now holding it, but a bit of contact between himself and Philip Howe, stepping McLeod back by 1 position, and Jones might just get him here into the Maggots-Beckett's Chapel Complex. I'm seeing 2 trucks off the circuit in the back, Ashley Norman and Dwayne Priest, with Dwayne Priest now on his roof.
Yeah, a little bit of contact further back in the field, unfortunately, with those 2. And Dwayne Priest coming off second best by the looks of it. A few others also having problems through the Maggots-Beckett section. Nathan Verney ending up off the road as well. So a few incidents further back in the field, but it's certainly all on at the front of the field as Ryan Jones is looking to the outside of Philip Howe on the way down to the end of the back straight. He's going to try and go around the outside. A little bit of contact on the way into the corner, but going to end up having Mitchell McLeod fire it up the inside, and he's going to try and hold it around the outside is Ryan Jones, but he's just not quite going to be able to find a way on by Philip Howe. He's going to box him in, and McLeod's going to force it 3 wide, nearly contact between himself and Philip Howe, and they've both just barely managed to come away with that.
Yeah, Jones trying on the exit. Howe struggling with oversteer, and he gets pipped by both of them. Howe gets pincer moved by Ramler and Tompkins as well. He's right into the back now. Oh my goodness, forcing Aaron Dillon off the circuit at Abbey. Philip Howe is having a lot of trouble here getting this back online. More contact between himself and Dillon. Tries to shove it back through at Bridge. Have a look at Sam Stride looking to get advantage of this up the inside of Dillon. Kate Donnelly having to back out of it, as is Lockie Dalton. This is crazy racing on the final section of the first lap. Once again, it's Martin Turner out in the lead, completely untroubled, as everyone else battling behind.
Certainly, especially, that's a bit of contact further back, unfortunately, and copping a whack is Brian Shrees, and copping whack Westbrook as well. So it's certainly all on just down further in the pack, for sure.
Yeah, Justin Howe trying to recover because he unfortunately lost out, I think, due to technical issues at the end of the second race. Oh my goodness, that's a massive overshoot of cops there by Nathan Verney. He's going to come back on the track right with Ryan Meyer and Ashley Norman, and for his troubles, spun around just about. He's going to get it done though. Damian Westbrook getting pipped into the S's section as we focus again on this top 4 battle. Mitchell McLeod currently is in second, with Scott Ramler getting looked back on here by Ryan Jones. Very close battle for this final position on the podium. What can Ramler do? Jones is sticking it right in the middle of the circuit, and Ramler can't find a way past just yet. Slight oversteer, and Jones just pushing it a little too hard out of Stowe. That's going to open it up to Ramler as McLeod himself suffered a couple of issues just up ahead, and he's starting to gap them now. This battle between Jones and Ramler starting to bring Tompkins, Howe, Stride, and Dillon back into contention.
Certainly is really starting to close this field up. All this fighting that's going on at the front of the field, especially with Ryan Jones and Scottlist Ramlo, really are not leaving anything on the table. Tries to force the issue, does Ramler, and Ramler's going to look to the inside on the way through bridge, but not quite going to be close enough to get enough overlap and get the job done. So we'll have to sit in behind. Philip Howell launches it up the inside of Harry Tompkins as well. But Tompkins going to try and drive it back underneath him on the way out of the corner, but not quite going to be able to get it up the inside. Or is he? Because Howell is going to run a little bit wide, and he's going to be on the outside for the next corner, though, as Tompkins, but breaks late enough to get by.
Yep, just firing it in there towards the apex, and Sam Stride and Aaron Dillon running side by side on the exit of Luffield as well, banging wheels, sending each other potentially sky high, but that is Dillon up and ahead of Sam Stride. Now Lockie Dalton getting on the inside, and a big oversteer moment through the Woodcote corner. Sam Stride's going to try up the inside of Aaron Dillon, potentially into Cops, but not going to be able to get it done this time, and a bit too much curb on the exit getting off into the AstroTurf. That lets Lockie Dalton right on by. A 2:01.29 from Mitchell McLeod. I think that's the fastest lap we've seen all night.
Well, you'd be not far off. That's certainly very, very quick for Mitchell McLeod. He did a 2:01.731 in qualifying, so that's incredibly quick now, especially considering it's a lot later in the event as well. So he's got some amazing pace in that truck at the moment.
Yeah, and look at the gap he's pulling over everyone else as Ryan Jones and Scottlist Ramler continue to battle. Harry Tompkins fires it in to cover off the advances of Philip Howe, and they're both together again on the exit. This is the view on board from Harry Tompkins. He has a great front row seat to this battle. Slight bit of contact by Ramler on Jones, but they fire it into club just as they always have, and everyone in single file behind them. Philip Howe trying to do something a little bit different, taking a wider exit out of club, but now he's under big threat from Aaron Dillon. They're making contact coming into Abbey. Dillon has to back out of the throttle there. He's going to lose out to, oh my goodness, Sam Stride knocking Lockie Dalton right off the circuit, and he's going to lose a position out of that. That was all started by the contact between Philip Howe and Aaron Dillon. So now Dillon trying his best to hold, and look at Scott Ramler and Harry Tompkins and Ryan Jones side by side through the final section of the circuit, and it looks like Ramler just getting ahead. Bit of contact from Jones. Jones gets bumped from behind by Harry Tompkins. They're side by side again. Jones with the throttle application gets it done. More contact with Ramler puts him back behind. But this is not over. We're only just going to come up to a third race distance. This is a 9-lapper.
Certainly no stopping anyone at the moment. They're not letting anything, well, they're not taking a break at all. They're literally just going full 100% the whole entire way, and it's just absolutely crazy at the moment, just inside and just outside the top 5 at the moment, with everybody really scrapping as hard as they are. So it's unbelievable as to what's going to happen here, and anybody's guess is what's going to happen. And Jones ending up off the road as a result of contact between himself and Ramler. Unfortunately, he's going to come back on. He's going to have a massive slowdown as a result, so he's going to lose probably 4 or 5 positions, if not fall back just outside the top 10.
Yeah, we'll see what happens to Jones there as we ride on board with Sam Stride onto the grass in his battle with Aaron Dillon, and a huge draft down the hanger straight. He just slips in with a car's width to spare around the outside. Dillon getting forced to fire it in, and he makes contact with Philip Howe. They've come together. Howe getting knocked out of the way once again. This is a real baptism of fire for him in this race. As right behind them, oh, have a look at Mitchell McLeod and Martin Turner. I don't know where to look. There's something going on just about everywhere around this circuit. It's Cade Donnelly trying his best to hold off Justin Howe, but Justin goes right on through and takes the position. But for the lead, Martin Turner versus Mitchell McLeod coming into bridge. McLeod with the outside line, but Turner just sneaking in ahead. Oh no, he's run wide through bridge. That's okay though, because he has the inside for Priory. He can protect from McLeod there. But Mitch just balancing the throttle on the outside. He's going to try and stay with Turner here and make life more difficult for him. Out of Brooklands then. Turner with the better throttle application and then firing it into Luffield. No, he's going to give McLeod the room. I'm surprised he did that, because that is just about the easiest lead pass that Mitchell McLeod would have ever done.
He got handed to him on a silver platter there, so Mitchell McLeod straight into the lead of this race, and he's going to certainly be liking this because of the fact that he's now going to have clean air and going to be able to pull away from the rest of the field. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones has still got his hands full at the moment with Ramlo's all over the back of him, trying to find a way on by Jones as well. So Ramler's going to have the exit though out of turn number 1, and he's going to be side by side on the way down towards Maggots and Beckett. So who's going to back out of it? Probably neither of them. Ramler's going to have the inside edge. Jones going to try hold around the outside panels, and Jones is barely going to have the advantage, but Ramler's going to have the advantage for the following corner to head onto the hanger straight. And Jones setting up the exit, not too bad to get the draft, and he's got not too bad of drive off the corner as well, so might have the advantage into the following corner, which he is. He's going to look to the inside of Scott Ramler on the way down the hanger straight. He's going to have the advantage, but is Ramler going to be able to hold it around the outside? They both break as late as they can. Ryan Jones takes position off him though, but Ramler's going to come back at him.
What a great fight through the Beckett's S's between those two. It looked very clean, and it looked like there was just enough room given. Jones slipping on back ahead of Ramler coming into club. Seeing that Philip Howe, unfortunately, has retired from this race. A big shame to see that, as Ramler tries with the inside line on Ryan Jones. We're going to get a quick replay here to see what happened to Philip Howe, and it looks like it was contact with his son Justin that started all of this off. Oh no, that's going to be an interesting debrief. Philip Howe right into the wall, and that is going to be racing done for him. So we go back to live pictures, and Ramler and Jones continuing to fight. There's big contact between the two of them, and Ramler takes advantage of that to slip up the inside into Brooklands, gets on the throttle beautifully and completes the move. So there we go. Ryan Jones now back into 4th place, and Aaron Dillon right behind them looking to capitalise.
Definitely looking to capitalise here on these two that have been battling extremely hard for the past 5 or so laps. So he'll be wanting to try and find a way on by and score some decent points after having what has been a bit of an average night for him, being the reigning champion at this stage. So he'll want to find a way on by as quickly as possibly can. But Harry Tompkins also there or thereabouts, and could easily get involved in this little battle if all 3 of these drivers really do start fighting too hard and coming together as well.
Yeah, and what you couldn't see from that onboard of Harry Tompkins is that, look, he has Sam Stride right behind him and looking to capitalise on a move through the S's. And you see what Stride is doing here. He is taking late apexes at every opportunity, and that sets up the exit really nicely for the hanger straight. Unfortunately, not able to get on the throttle quite as hard as he wanted, because Harry Tompkins was still right in front of him. And meanwhile, here's Ryan Jones and Aaron Dillon. Jones going defensive now into Stowe, trying to stymie Dillon's advances, but look at the grip that Dillon has around the outside. Bit of contact between the two of them once again. This is a real fight now for the final position on the podium. 5 cars in contention for this. Oh my goodness, Jones went so hard there into the club corner, almost smashed into Ramler, and it looks like that's going to give a bit of an extra advantage to Ramler, with Aaron Dillon now starting to bear down on Jones as Harry Tompkins goes for the move on Sam Stride and gets it into Abbey, but he's going to lose it right again on the exit. Stridey back through on the inside, and very close between the 3-way battle for 3rd, with Ramler, Jones and Dillon all running line astern. They still have a few laps left after this one to sort themselves out.
Definitely do have a few more laps to sort themselves out, but do you think they're going to wait that long? No, they're not. They're definitely going to put the pedal to the metal and make sure that it's all staying fully action-packed with 3 or so laps to go. So certainly going to be a very, very interesting battle, and see who's going to come out on top. But further back even, you've got Lochie, Dalton, Donnelly and Justin Howe all fighting it out for this final few spots inside the top 10 at the moment. Donnelly's looking to the inside of Lockie Dalton, who runs slightly wide off the road. How's going to look to the inside of Dalton here, but not quite going to be able to get a move done. Donnelly's barely going to hold it on the inside. Dalton's going to try and hold it around the outside. Doesn't do too bad on the exit. Contact, and they're 3 wide on the way into Megan to Beckett. This is not going to end well. Someone's going to have to back out, and neither of them are. Dalton cops a whack, and he's going to end up off the road.
Oh, and Kate Donnelly holds on with Justin Howe staying there on the outside. Lockie Dalton rejoining the circuit with a bit of a slowdown to do, but looks like he's able to get right back onto the throttle and continue this battle. So there goes Justin Howe having to concede that move just for now. But have a look at Kate Donnelly's lack of straight line speed. That is certainly going to be a factor down here at Stowe, and Dalton sweeping around the outside to try and get the move done, but just overshoots the corner. That's going to allow Donnelly right back through. We'll see if Justin Howe can make a move around the outside of this left-hander, trying his best to stick his nose in. And he does to an extent, but this acceleration zone is where a lot of the difference is made. A bit too much wheel spin, though, for Lockie Dalton, so that means Justin Howe might just slip ahead before Abby. At the very least, they're going to go through there side-by-side again. Justin Howe off the circuit. So difficult to keep that thing turning left through there. Bit of contact once again as they lunge into the bridge corner, but they keep it mostly clean. Firing it up the inside into Priory. Dalton gets it done, but then Howie is going to get it done right here down at Brooklands as Westbrook goes for it on Daniel Stevens just behind. Stevens shuffled off to the outside of the circuit, but he's still got the advantage, still got the position now over Westbrook. A bit of contact between the two of them, notwithstanding.
Stevens is going to have the advantage of the draft as well from those in front of him, so he'll be using that to his advantage to try and reel them in and also pull away from Westbrook as well, because he'll want to try and do that and get inside the top 10 on board with him here at the moment, and getting it nice run through turn number 1. Not too bad of an exit, not too much slide as well, so he's closed up that gap to the cars ahead of him, and he's going to try and at least set up a move for the end of the hanger straight, but it's going to be very, very close between himself and Dalton.
It is, and it looks like Cade Donnelly's going to get in a bit of trouble here as well, because Justin Howe advancing on him towards the end of the S's, just in front of these guys. They sort themselves out. More wheel spin for Cade Donnelly, and it looks like Justin Howe has been given the open wide doorway to the move up the inside into Stowe. This is the second last lap of the race, remember, so time is rapidly running out. Cade Donnelly on the brakes at the same time as Howe and holds it round the outside very nicely, but Howe a bit more confident on the throttle. Slight contact between the two of them makes him lose the momentum. So Donnelly now slipping back ahead, coming into club. Howe is going to have to make the switch back, do the over-under on the exit of this corner, but he doesn't get the opportunity because Donnelly right to the inside once again. And this is only the battle for the last couple of positions in the top 10. So it just goes to show you, everywhere in this series, there is someone you can have a battle with. There's 5 cars involved in this fight for 8th. It's Donnelly, Howe, Dalton, Stevens, and now Westbrook just trailing off the back of this pack.
Certainly, there's battles absolutely everywhere throughout this field, and you can see all over the back of it, Mitchell McLeod now is Martin Turner trying to get back into the lead of this race with 1 lap to go this time by. So it's going to be very, very close between them, but it's still very, very close between like Ryan Jones and Aaron Dillon, and then even closer back here in the rest of the field with Justin Howe, Lockie Dalton, Daniel Stevens, Damian Westbrook, and even Cade Donnelly just up in front of them as well. So there's certainly battles going all on throughout this field.
It is white flag for our race leaders. It is now white flag for these guys battling for 8th position on back. It looks like Cade Donnelly is reasonably safe, and Justin Howe there in the number 78 starting to advance on the exit of Cops. Our 2 leaders, I don't think, are going to get in each other's hair too much. This is where the battling really is. Howe tried into Maggots and Beckett's, just slowed up a bit too much, and Dalton and Stevens collecting him. That's brought Westbrook right back into it. Stevens goes for the move into the right-hander on Lockie Dalton. Tries to get it done, but big power out on the exit allows Dalton to stay with him and just stay ahead. Oh, side-by-side contact down the straight. Stevens was almost flipped over there. Meanwhile, Justin Howe up on the inside of Cade Donnelly as Daniel Stevens moves to the outside of Lockie Dalton. Cade Donnelly is still trying to hold on here versus Justin Howe, but it looks like Howie is going to grab it on the exit of Stowe. That is going to be 8th place secured for him. Meanwhile, up at the front, Mitchell McLeod has got the gap that he needs over Martin Turner. The gap is 0.8 of a second between the two of them. McLeod only having a few corners left to go. For 4th and 5th, Ryan Jones is still fighting hard with Aaron Dillon, last season's champion, and he's drawing alongside coming into Priory. Aaron Dillon trying against Ryan Jones, but it looks like Jones is going to hold on just and stay ahead coming into Brooklands. For Mitchell McLeod, though, he only has one corner to go. Martin Turner giving him the lead at that very same corner, just a few laps back. And wow, Mitch, excellent job. He is going to come across the line to take a double victory here tonight at Silverstone, getting his championship off to the best start possible. 44 P1 with Martin Turner in 2nd. Scottless Rambler in 3rd place. What a great run from him to get a podium in the final race of the night between Cade Donnelly and Daniel Stevens. It's going to be very close. Stevens just getting him at the line for that 10th place.
Drag race to the line between Meyer and Norman as well. Nothing in it in the end, and it was in favour of Meyer as well. So incredibly close finishes, both at the front, mid, and the rear of the field. But what a race it was.
What a race it was indeed. Mitchell McLeod with 2 wins and a P2 tonight, I would say takes the round win for tonight. Martin Turner in 2nd with him. Scottless Rambler making a very strong podium in his series debut. Ryan Jones holding on for 4th. It was a great fight and he managed to hold off the advances of many drivers at once. Big props to Ryan. Aaron Dillon completing the top 5. Not the best night to start off his championship defence, but it's a long season. We got 5 more rounds to go. He can certainly make it up. Stride and Tompkins in 6th and 7th. Another strong finish for those guys. Justin Howe would have been hoping for a little bit better in P8, including an incident with his father Philip. Lockie Dalton and Daniel Stevens round out the top 10 at the end.
Over the page, and you're going to have Cade Donnelly just outside the top 10, Westbrook in 12th, 13th to Meyer, Norman in 14th, and Trezise rounding out the top 15 with VERNEY, Howard, Priest, and SANCHEZ rounding out the field.
Yeah, and unfortunately, ALFREDO SANCHEZ not taking the start with Howe and Priest, your 2 retirements from this one. Well, for just about the first time, we're going to go for post-race driver interviews, because right here with us now is Mitchell McLeod in the number 40. Hey, Mitch, welcome and congratulations. A 2nd and 2 wins. Great way to start off the season.
Yeah, not too bad. I was a bit surprised with my pace in practice, and I thought, it's definitely a fluke, and then went quicker in quali, and yeah, it was good fun. Had some epic battles in especially that first race with Justin. That was bloody awesome. But yeah, coming through the pack in the second race was a bit interesting, but ended up getting 2nd, and yeah, managed to get through on Martin, and he couldn't quite get the draft on me, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, we've highlighted how good this track seems to be for battling in these machines. Like, what's your general approach to this place? Because Silverstone, usually a circuit where you're pushing as hard as you can through very fast corners and high downforce cars, but you don't have any of that in these trucks. It's the complete opposite.
It kind of is, but it kind of isn't, because even in high downforce cars here, you need to carry momentum through a lot of those high-speed corners. And I think that's where I was going a little bit better this time around here, was just being able to carry a bit more mid-corner speed rather than trying to brake too late and try and find time. I was able to carry a bit more corner momentum. And I noticed a lot of guys were going a lot deeper and nearly rear-ended me during the race. But yeah, it was, I think that's all it is, just that mid-corner speed, like everyone always says, you know. It's either fast and slow out or mid-corner speed and try and keep the speed up. So I think that was just working tonight.
Well, you had potential for a run at the championship last season, but unfortunately, due to missing a couple of races, that didn't quite work out for you. You think that your chances are better this time?
Yeah, well, Mum's birthday is not going to clash this time, so I'll blame Mum for not winning the last one. That was the only time I missed it, so yeah. I'm out here to have a bit of fun, and the racing in these things is absolutely awesome. So, yeah, championship, if that happens, then that's all good. But yeah, in the meantime, just like having a bit of a race, and these things really put on a show, and it's good fun. So yeah, can't wait for the rest of the race.
Neither can we. Before we let you go, Mitchell, is there anyone that you'd like to thank from your garage?
Obviously, I've got to thank the best-looking brother-in-law ever, which is Jay Kennedy. Him I wouldn't have known this series was on. And Sam Stride tonight, he said better come and race because I want to try and keep up with you, and I didn't see him or not, so that was quite nice as well.
Well, that is Mitchell McLeod there, what we imagine to be the round winner in this first round of the Pro Truck Showdown. Next up, we've got Martin Turner in the comms box with us, stood by with Cam Dance for the P2 interview.
Certainly, Marty. It was a pretty good night for you. Not too bad in the end, but yeah, you can't complain at all.
No, it was my first round in the Pro Truck Series, and yeah, pretty good overall. Stuffed up my first race. I jumped the start for some reason. I just thought red lights meant go for some reason, and but it kind of worked in my favour for the second race because of the reverse grid thing, and went from there really. Yeah, it was good.
Obviously, these trucks are probably a little bit of fish out of water sort of stuff for you, with the fact that you're usually racing in like TCR and normal road racing cars, I guess you could say. Did you find it any difficulties with it, or did you actually enjoy it and actually came to it quite well?
Yeah, it's difficult, but I like the challenge, I guess. Just the way they, they're a bit slower, got to think about it a bit more, got to be easy on the acceleration a bit like, got to treat it a bit like the V8 supercar, I guess, but to the extreme. Yeah, I loved it. I reckon it's great.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long championship ahead. Are we going to see you back for the next few rounds, or if not the entire championship? And what are your hopes to try and make out of it? Yeah, I'm definitely planning on being at all the rounds. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'll just see how I go, really. I'm not planning on winning or anything like that. I'll just, take it as it comes. It's obviously can be a bit of a bash up sometimes, so you just never know what's going to happen, really. But yeah, just having fun. So yeah, it seems like a really fun series for sure. Before we let you go, Marty, just any thanks and any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, just thanks to my Chicken Up teammates, Mitch and Ash, as usual, and sponsors RS Graphics, Baz's Fencing, Prestige Trophy and Badge, and yeah, thanks to you guys as well.
The Habit Race, your P2 finisher for the third race.
Yes, indeed, and I think we'll have one more chat to series organizer Justin Howe, who's jumped into the commentary box with us. Welcome, Justin. In terms of results, the night didn't quite go your way. It was a second in race 1 for you, 18th in race 2, 8th in race 3, but all up, looked like it was a great night of racing to get the second season off.
Yeah, it's a great night of racing. I had a great dive for a lot of people through the field, and yeah, really enjoyed it.
Tracks like Silverstone Historic seem to lend themselves really well to this kind of racing, and we know that the track for the next round is not revealed until Friday. But in terms of the general kind of track that you're going for this season, is it going to be similar to last season with really big circuits, or are you trying something different this season?
We're always looking to throw a spanner in the works and keep people on their toes. We'll drop a bomb now and we'll head to Watkins Glen, which was another great round last season. So we'll go there for round 2 this next week.
That sounds awesome. Really looking forward to that one. But overall, I reckon this series, after the championship finale and the overall racing that we saw last season, I'm looking forward to seeing more of the same in this season. And we've got a really good field as well, which helps things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank SimSpeed for all their input and help with the series and putting on a great show for us. So really appreciate it greatly.
Thank you very much, Justin. And before we let you go, is there anyone else that you'd like to thank from your own garage or from a general series perspective?
Oh, look, like to thank all the drivers, really, mate. They're the ones that put the show on for all the spectators and all the drivers as well. The drivers and their driving quality is what puts the show on for us. So I'd like to thank those, and yeah, look forward to the next one.
As are we. That's Justin Howe there, racer in this series and the man behind the Pro Truck Showdown. So, there we go. My goodness, what a night of racing to start off this season. Cam, I cannot wait for Watkins Glen at round 2. There was some great racing there last season, as we are both well aware. We get to do it all again.
Certainly do. And if, again, this sit round is anything to go by, next round is going to be an absolute cracker. So, yeah, looking forward to it and can't wait for it.
You'll be able to catch it at the same time next week, next Wednesday night on SimSpeed TV on YouTube, also live on Facebook as well. Make sure that you check us out, throw us a subscribe, a like, comment if you enjoyed the VOD if you're watching this later on. Thank you very much for watching. Another big thanks to series sponsors Scamander Coffee Mug, Hot Toddy's Heating Installs, and Allstate Security Tasmania. This was round 1 of the Pro Truck Showdown. For SimSpeed TV, I'm Reese Gardner and Cameron Dance joining me in the comms box. Jay Kennedy, of course, on cameras and making everything happen behind the scenes. It's bye for now, but not forever. We'll see you next Wednesday at Watkins Glen.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.